Good morning and welcome to our pre-recorded webinar on optimizing your pricing strategy to maximize profits. It's being brought to you by the Buffalo Niagara chapter of SCORE and by our presenter, SCORE volunteer, 25 years volunteer, Julie Brandner. Good morning, Julie. I had you muted, Julie. Anyway, Julie will be fielding questions and comments in the chat while we play the recording of the presentation, and she will also be answering any questions at the end of the presentation. I'm SCORE Workshops co-coordinator Ted Galantowicz, and am pleased to serve as your host for another SCORE webinar. Before going into the presentation, I'd like to let you know that this pre-recorded webinar is part of SCORE's commitment to promote the success of small business. We do this through local and nationally available training events, one-on-one mentoring, and by providing online informational resources. SCORE is the volunteer arm of the Small Business Administration, and we've got hundreds of chapters and thousands of unpaid volunteers throughout the United States. Our Buffalo chapter has about 50 members, most of whom do mentoring. Our mentoring is free, it's confidential, and most of our educational events are free. You can contact us at buffaloniagara.score.org and at our national website, score.org, to view national and local workshops, to explore numerous business-related resources. By the way, there are 2 more Buffalo Niagara SCORE webinars scheduled for this month. On Tuesday, January 18th at 6 p.m., we'll be presenting Defining Your Vision to Increase the Probability of Your Business Success. And on Monday, January 31st, we will be presenting How to Find and Get a Small Business Grant. That will be a 6 o'clock start time on Monday, January 31st. For information and registration for these and other SCORE workshops, go to our website, buffaloniagara.score.org. And now for our presentation. As I mentioned at the beginning, our presenter is SCORE volunteer and entrepreneur, Julie Brandner. We're going to be doing something a bit different today. Julie actually recorded this presentation that you're about to see. She recorded it several months ago. After I scheduled today's pre-recorded presentation, Julie contacted me and offered to be available for fielding attendee questions. So we'll proceed with Julie answering the questions and comments that you put into the chat. And also Julie will be available live at the end of the presentation to answer any follow-up questions. For your information, I will be sending to all registrants a link to view the presentation you're about to see. For any of you that have questions during the presentation, again, please record them in the chat feature of Zoom, and Julie will reply within chat. And if it's at all possible, given the number of attendees that we have at the end of the presentation, I will allow attendees to open up their microphones and to speak directly to Julie. Again, thanks for joining us this morning. And here we go with the recorded presentation.
It is great to have you here. Let's talk about money, real money that you can control. What do you need to do to make more money? Would you like to make more profit in your business? Did you know that only 40% of all businesses are profitable? And there are 534,000 new businesses that are starting each month. And with all of the competition out there, owning a profitable business is not easy. So let me show you some practical tips that you can apply now. We all know that customers and profits are critical to the success of any business. And I'm someone who started a fine jewelry importing, manufacturing, wholesale, and I had multiple retail stores. And I made a lot of mistakes, but I had to figure it out. And I was fortunate to retire at the age of 41. So the hard work and understanding the numbers was the real key to my success. So now let's get to know who's here. I'm going to launch a poll. If you could take just a minute to answer whether or not you're currently in business and the type of business, so I can see who's here, and I'd like to tailor this talk so that it's completely relevant to you. Okay. It looks to me that 81% of you are currently in business, and only 8% are not in business, and 22% are starting a business. So I'm happy to see most of you are currently in business. Now, the second survey is the type of business that you're in. Do we have that?
Yes, and Julie, if you'll scroll down just below
I
the
got
first
it.
question, you'll see those results coming through right there.
Very good. So what we find here is that most 55% are a service business. And today that really is most businesses. 13% are a product distribution and 16 are an online business. And I'm assuming the others are probably a nonprofit or some other type of business. So let's get started. What we're going to be talking about today is evaluating your business, the whole business and all aspects of it, understanding your profit and loss, the pricing of your products and services, the sales, and understanding all of your expenses and how to generate more profits. The service versus product distribution, your sales, which are so important, how you can generate more revenue, and how, at the end of the day, you can actually exceed your customers' expectations. And we will also be looking at the viable opportunities that you have in your business. Is the business growing or declining? Have you evaluated all of your expenses? Is there a way that you can save money? Who are your customers, and can you get more customers than you currently have? The biggest complaint many businesses have is, I need more customers. We're going to talk about that. And what is your competitive advantage? How are you better than all of those other 4 million businesses out there in business? And can you deliver more benefits and value to your customers? And how much money do you need to run your business? Any purposes? And at the end of the day, are you able to make enough profit to make this business worthwhile? Or is it better just to keep a job where you can get paid every week? So let's talk about understanding how much you need. If you're starting a business, you need to write down every single thing you need. There are the fixed overhead expenses just to keep the doors open. You need to understand how many sales that you need and all the expenses and how you're going to increase those profit margins. And there are those fixed monthly expenses that never go away, whether you have one sale or 1,000 sales. And there are a lot of unrealized costs, things that you may not be aware of, like, you need a repair, maintenance, or more inventory, or more staff to run the business. And is there a reserve? Generally speaking, I like to see a 1 to 3 month reserve of overhead costs in case, you don't have sales or there's an issue with the business. It's all about profit. And you're in business to make money. So let's continue talking about how exactly we're going to do that. The first and foremost is really understanding your competition. Who are they? Your indirect competition are people selling similar services and products, but and your direct are people that are exactly doing what you're doing. So an example might be a bakery. You go to the bakery to buy cakes and cookies, but the supermarket also sells cakes and cookies. So they are your indirect competition. And you need to know what your competition is doing well and what they're not doing well, because the gap in what they're not doing well is where you can come in and get those customers. Also, you need to know how long they've been in business and what's their reputation. Are they known as being good at what they do or not so good? And what do they sell? What are they selling? And how can you compete with them? What are their business practices? Do they answer the phone when you call, or do you need to leave a message? I can tell you, when I'm calling a business, I needed a plumber, and if they don't answer the phone, I go on to the next one, and I do business with the person that answers the phone. I need to make sure that business is accessible and they're ready for business. I don't really want to leave a message. And when I have left a message, I have found that many people don't even return your calls. That's not a good business practice. So make sure that you can be better than the competition. Now, most people who have started businesses worked for the competition. And what they realized is they can do it better. And that's when they start their own business. So you want to learn everything you can from the competition. You want to do business with the competition to make sure that you can be better than them and get those customers away from them. Now let's talk about products and service pricing. What is the demand for the product or service that you're selling? Now, we all know that there are needs and wants, and the needs in the world are things we absolutely cannot live without. They're, food, water, your home. And in the case of pricing the essential items, there's not much that would happen when people would not buy it, because we all need gas to go to work. And so we're going to pay whatever price the gas is, or whatever the price it is for milk, whatever that is, we need that. And the pricing is going to be reflective of what we need to pay. But there are other things that you don't need. They are the wants. And these are things that you feel have a value to you. So it would be something like, you can live without it, but you really want to have it. It brings you joy. It maybe has a status attached to it. It enhances your life in some way. It's not necessary, but you want it. And so you're going to buy it. And in that case, you want to make sure that you give the best customer service to warrant that if people don't need it, they're going to buy it anyway. And also think about price fluctuations and how that can affect the sales. So the basic thing to think about always is, how can you enhance the customer experience? People will pay more when you give better service and you make them feel, appreciated and thanking them. So think about how you can do that. Now there's different
Julie.
pricing. Yes.
Oh, hi. I'm so sorry to interject. I just wanted to let you know that we're hearing some clicking. It sounds like it's coming from your microphone, possibly when you're moving. It's just maybe sensitive on your shirt, or maybe on your
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Okay.
Yes. If you can maybe hold it out, or we'll see how it sounds, and if it continues, we can determine a backup option, maybe going without the microphone.
Okay. Thank you. Let me know.
Okay. Thank you, Julie.
Okay. So let's get back to pricing strategies. The different pricing strategies in business is you're buying something for a price and you're marking it up, and it ranges depending on the type of profit that you need to make. So in my retail stores, I needed a 2.5 time markup. So I bought it for $10. I marked it up for $25, and that allowed the profit margin that I needed. And it also gave me enough profit margin so I could give a discount. There's also demand-based pricing, which you can charge more when the demand is higher. A good example is Valentine's Day. Have you ever noticed the price of roses and chocolate-covered strawberries? And people are willing to pay more during that time of year. Now, there is a price by the hour that you can charge for your time. And if you need to go to a job, there's usually a minimum, like $100 minimum and a $50 per hour every hour after that. And then there is a fixed fee pricing where you're going to charge for a job. So you will estimate the time for that job. You're going to identify all the parameters to make sure you're charging enough, and you're going to just charge a price for a fee, a price for a job done. The other thing now is value pricing. A good value, you're going to be offering quality and service at a great price. An example could be Jiffy Lube. You go in, you get a quick oil change. It's a great price. They're efficient. And then on the other hand, we have pricing based on personal values, name brands. There is a value when people know you're wearing a Rolex watch. And so you can charge more for that. And anything that has a higher perceived value, you can charge more for. Other examples are Starbucks. There's a value attached to having a Starbucks coffee cup in your hand. Also having an Apple computer, you pay a lot more for it, but there is a lot of value there. And the other type of pricing is bundle pricing, where you are putting items together, like the value meal we buy for our children. If you buy a coffee, you can get a free bagel. There are salons that offer a color cut and blow dry, or you get a free car wash when you buy gas. So the goal is to bundle items in your business to upsell and to constantly turn over that inventory and increase the sale. So the more you sell, the more profit. And the goal is to turn over that inventory as often as possible. The other pricing strategy is psychological pricing. We like seeing $9.99 instead of $10. We also like to see buy one and get one free. So you could buy one and get 50% off, or even buy something and get a free gift with purchase. All of these pricing strategies, and these are just a few to consider in your business. Now let's talk about the costs. So when you're in business, no matter what you're buying, you should always have at least 3 vendors so that you can compare pricing. I can tell you when I was in business, I had one vendor, and you know what? When I did not get the delivery, I lost the sale. So you should always have backup vendors to make sure you get delivery on time and the best pricing. And you can also find vendors that will drop ship so you don't have to keep inventory on hand. And always ask for quantity discounts. Do you know that if you buy a dozen or 25 or 100, you could get a discount, and that's more profit in your pocket. So consider that. Also ask for credit terms. Most businesses will say cash on delivery, and Net 30 gives you that cash flow so that you can have that money to buy other things and turn over more inventory. And also consider a return policy. Let's say you're buying from a vendor and the items just don't sell. There is an option to return that for inventory that will sell. Best sellers is what you want to always have. And also think about when your cost of the product, you have to always include the shipping and the handling, the storage, even the packaging, the bags, the boxes, the labels, all of these things are part of your product cost. And sometimes you just don't think about adding that to the cost of goods. And of course, we always have to include the internet, social media, website content management, e-commerce transaction expenses, recurring expenses that you're not thinking about is all part of your product costs. Now let's talk about sales. Revenue are your sales minus all of your expenses, and what you're left with is the profit. So how many sales and how much revenue do you need to be profitable? The more you sell, the more profit you make, because you have these fixed monthly expenses that don't go away. So if you sell one item, it's the same overhead. And if you sell 1,000, it's basically the same overhead. So that fixed expense doesn't change. And so the more you sell, the more profit you're going to have. I can tell you, I had a CPA, a certified public accountant, that helped me with all of my costs to determine the profit margin I needed. And he was familiar with my industry, and I was successful because he was my partner in helping me identify unrealized costs that many of us don't think about an accountant can help you with. So let's go into understanding all of these fixed expenses. And there may be more than this, but this is just a few. The rent, and if you're a home-based business, whatever percentage of that overhead, your insurance, utilities, administrative salaries, any professional fees, the internet, any interest on any loans, supplies, taxes, telephone, and all maintenance are some of the fixed expenses that you're going to have daily and monthly and annually. And again, as I said, you must have a reserve for any variable expense, an expense that is unknown that can come up, like a repair. Maybe you need extra labor. Maybe you need more equipment or more inventory. And maybe this month you want to spend more on marketing. You have to have that money reserved in an account in order to do that. And in general, your expenses are a percentage of your revenue, and it's depending on your expected profit margin. So just know that that's a formula. Again, your accountant can help you with that. Now, being a SCORE mentor for over 20 years and going through financials with many of the clients, I can tell you this is a short list of overlooked expenses. You don't realize it. When you order something and it's shipped to you, you paid $10 for the item, but the shipping cost may be $1, and you don't include that when you're marking it up. Also, the interest on any loans or credit cards that you may need to add as an expense, as well as inventory cost. Do you know that your inventory that is sitting there for 3 months or more, there's a cost for that money? That's cash that is not being sold, inventory not being sold, cash that's not being going towards something that you can sell immediately. And also your equipment and supply expenses that you may have, as well as your depreciation. And if you are importing the way I was, there were tariffs and duty and custom broker fees that I had to pay, as well as some professional fees that we don't take into consideration, and the commissions you may be paying to the salespeople, the labor and payroll taxes, and of course, all of those unexpected expenses, maintenance and overhead that just make sure you capture every single penny when you are marking up and costing out your products or services. Now, how can we increase our profit margins? by decreasing spending. So when you are buying things, you need to ask yourself, do I need this right now or can it wait? Can I wait until it goes on sale? Every penny you save is a higher profit, more money in your pocket. So you might consider raising your credit line and your credit terms so you have more cash to do business and grow your business. You can always ask to lower the interest rates. Interest rates have come down. You can contact your bank and get those rates lowered on loans and even on credit cards, and always take advantage of those credit cards with the 0% interest. Occasionally there may be a late fee. Do you know you can have those waived? And you can negotiate payment extensions. There was a time when all the bills came at the first of the month, and I called the credit card company and I said, I would like this bill to come the middle of the month. And guess what? That gave me 2 weeks extra credit for free. And of course, ask your vendors for credit terms. There was a time we sold to all the major discount stores, and 1 year Kmart said to us, they paid net 30 forever. And they called up and they said, we need net 90. And guess what? We couldn't say no. So we gave them 90 days credit during Christmas time. They needed extra terms. So don't be afraid to ask. And also think about what in your business shrinks your profits. When you get a return that can't be sold, that's a profit. A theft. I had a 5% built into my projections for theft. Customers stealing, employees stealing. 5% is what I figured in. And also when you get damaged items, that's your profit. It can't be resold. Hopefully you can return it, but if you can't, that's your profit. You paid for something that can't be sold. Also, think about the receivables. Anybody that owes you money for more than 90 days, have you ever loaned your friend money? And if you're not paid in 90 days, it's unlikely you're ever going to be paid. So just know that any receivable over 90 days is looked at as a bad debt. And banks will not give you credit on any bad debt in your business. And obsolete inventory is inventory that's been sitting there for a year or 6 months. You need to turn over your inventory. And of course, the material and delivery costs that go up and fluctuate. If you're paying more for materials, paying more for gas when you're going out on a job, that is part of your profits. And of course, those economic and natural disasters. If we can't get our product, we're going to lose our customers. We have nothing to sell. So think about this and always think about how you can continue to increase profits in your business. Now let's talk about product distribution and even a service. How are you going to manage those sales? We all know it's hard to get new customers, but those repeat customers, those customers we can nurture, are how we are going to get continuous sales. And of course, we can consider new markets we could sell to, new areas we could sell in, and think about selling gift certificates, because that is cash flow. When I sold my retail store, I had 50% of the gift certificates were never even redeemed. That was cash in my pocket. So no, selling gift certificates increases your cash flow. Do you know that selling memberships and subscriptions are another way to increase cash flow? As a athletic club, do you know that those memberships, 62% are never used? 82% of those memberships are only used once a week. And subscriptions are ongoing income. So take advantage of that if that's something that you can do in your business. Also think about labor. When you are doing a job, how many hours in a day per person can you make? For example, supercuts. How many haircuts can you do in a day to maximize the income that you have? Also, when you are traveling to do jobs, if you're doing landscaping, make sure that you have the whole neighborhood. So you're driving and you're doing every single house one after the next to maximize your profits and your product distribution. So you need to know what the maximum production capacity is when you're making product or selling product to make sure that you are maximizing that capacity. So when you make one item or 100 items, the overhead stays the same. So always think about how you're reducing your costs, and remember always to include the overhead. So the more you sell, the more you make is the bottom line. Now let's talk about wholesale sales. If you're able to have enough inventory, like in my manufacturing business, I was able to wholesale my products, my overstock. And so you want to have minimum orders. So if someone buys one item, it's one price, but if they buy a dozen, they get a discount, or 100, a bigger discount. Now, another thing you can do with inventory is offer a consignment. Products that you sell, you can sell on consignment, where you give the consignor 40% of the sale or 30% of the sale, and you make the rest, not having to do anything except stocking that store. And the store owner doesn't have to pay for inventory. And also think about credit terms. So I know most companies want net 30, but if they pay in 10 days or less, you can give them a small discount, 2% net 10. You can also think about distributing by bartering. You must barter with caution, because when you barter, you are really not having that cash flow. You're getting product, you're giving product, and you're getting other product or services in return, but that does affect your cash flow. So the rule of thumb for me is 5% barter if you have to or need to. Now let's talk about product distribution. So with the manufacturing and wholesale business and retail stores, my ultimate goal was always, how many ways can I sell my products? You can do these pop-up shops, go certain times of the year and just have a sale for a day. We did corporate sales where we would go into hospitals, set up our jewelry store, and we would sell product and give them 20% of the sale. The goal is, if you're doing wholesale, you want to get a mass distribution. The more you sell, the more you're going to make, and the profit margins are less when you're doing a mass distribution. Now, we also have online sales. So anyone that could sell online is another way to sell your product. And affiliate marketing. Find an influencer on Instagram, have them wear your product and sell your product. They get a percentage, but there's a huge audience. You can also do multi-level marketing and have partnerships with other businesses, do private events, do co-branding and collaborations with other businesses that are like your business. The more ways you can sell and the more sales you can make, that's why we're in business, for sales. Now, if you're planning to open a retail store, location, location, location is the most important thing to think about. Make sure it's easy to find, there's plenty of parking, and there are other businesses nearby that share the same customer that you need for the business. Also think about how many square feet you need. The way to figure that out is to look at other stores, count the ceiling tiles, they're 2x2s or 2x4s, and see exactly how much space they've used for the product line. You want to lay out every square foot and make sure that everything is laid out and you get a return on investment on the items that are in that store. Identify the product lines. How much is it going to cost you to carry that product line? How much space is needed, and what type of displays do you need? Are they going to provide displays, or do you need to build the displays? And think about the cost of renovations, any signage you need, the fixtures, and all the inventory itemized in the store with a cost. And you might want to consider higher profit margin items. If you can get a 3 or 4 or 5 time markup on items, that again is more profit. But always know you want to stock your best selling items. And occasionally you can bring in a loss leader. That's an item to get somebody in the door. Maybe you only make a few dollars on that item, but once they're in the store or once they do business with you, there are other items that they may buy. Be aware of triple net leases. And a triple net lease is you are responsible for the maintenance, you're responsible for the taxes, and you're responsible for the insurance. So beware, before you sign a lease, make sure that you have a lawyer look at it that specializes in contracts, and make sure there's always a provision to break that lease if the business isn't doing as well as you had thought. And don't be afraid to negotiate lease terms when renting any space at all. You can offer less. You can ask for free rent if you are doing a renovation and improving the property. Now let's talk about online business options. As we saw through the poll, we have a lot of online businesses, and e-commerce is the way to go. You have to pay for the content management. You need to pay for the hosting fees, a certificate of expenses, and the marketplace fees. They charge a monthly fee, Amazon, Pinterest, Shopify. And to get that SEO search engine optimization, that's an extra added expense. So make sure you capture those expenses, the monthly fees, transaction fees, shipping fees, even storage fees that you may need to pay for. So now let's go into, we have all the pricing, the expenses, the product cost, the distribution. Now let's talk about customer loyalty. Your goal in business is to create more value to your customer. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and the chef comes to the table and they give you a complimentary appetizer? Think about how that makes you feel. You've just gone out for dinner. If you're going out for dinner during this time, that is invaluable. When we are treated that way, we always come back. Think about a nail, hair, or a spa that offers a complimentary shoulder or neck massage. How great does that make you feel? That added feeling of, luxury really keeps the customers coming back. Also, the packaging can create a customer loyalty. Tiffany's, the blue box with the white bow. We know when we get a gift from Tiffany's, it's something really special. And in my business, all of our jewelry was sold by weight, but when we added stones to silver and gold, we were able to charge more, and there was a much higher perceived value. So think about what you can do to give that higher perceived value to your customers. Give a free gift with purchase. Offer free services. Cutco Knives is a good example. They offer free knife sharpening and replacement for the life of your business. Many businesses will offer free oil change when you buy a car, car washes. There's all kinds of free purchases, free services with purchase, and of course offer warranties and that customer loyalty program, which always keeps customers coming back. So think about the customer experience and what you can do to give that customer that feeling that they're part of your family, that they're here for you. We're here for them. We can offer free training like Apple does. We can, if you're a personal trainer, do one-on-ones and help people maintain with, extra help, personalized service. Give bonus offers, give a money-back guarantee. We had sterling silver jewelry that never tarnished, and it was a lifetime guarantee. And guess what? We got one piece back. So a money back guarantee is something that always gives you a feeling that you're buying a quality product or service. And again, give those membership, subscription, and online support to your customers so that they know they're not alone, and that you're there for them. So we all know that customers are key. We want to thank them for their business. We want to always ask them if there's anything else we can do for them. We might want to offer a tip and initiate, I'm thinking about you. You can call them regularly, text them, email them, stay in touch with your customers regularly. Constant visibility and contact will increase business. We had a guy that came every month to the store. Whether I needed jewelry or not, I always bought from him because he was there. And so make sure you're visible. Give gifts. Appreciate their business. Create sales or rewards incentive programs. Value your customers. Get to know them personally. Make them feel good all the time, as often as you can. Now, in closing, I want to let you all know business is not easy. You need to keep your eye on all your expenses to maintain the highest possible profits. Always negotiate every single thing you do to save money, because every penny that you save is more profit in your pocket. You always want to work with people who are easy to work with and represent your company in a professional way. You want to empower your employees to think like owners to help you build your business, and always respond to changes in what your customers need and in the market. We have seen in this past 18 months the non-essential businesses that pivoted, and those businesses are still in business. So look at the market changes and continue to build that business. Increase your brand awareness, and know that there are challenging days in business, and you need to take a break when you have a challenging day. You never, ever want to give up, because the only job security today is owning your own business. And it should be enjoyable. And when it stops being fun, it may be time to get out. But always remember, you are never alone in business, because SCORE has over 12,000 business mentors around the country with every single background that can help you in your business. You can meet with these SCORE volunteers as often as you want, free of charge, and you can even meet with more than one. We're here for you for the life of your business, and I'm here for you as well. So feel free to email me anytime. And now, Alexa, back to you with questions.
Okay, Julie, I'm going to stop the pre-recorded presentation at that particular point. If you want to open up your microphone and comment on what has been in the chat so far. And while you're doing that, I will go ahead and allow our participants to open up their microphones. So I have to go down the list here. That will take me a minute or so. So if you want to comment on the presentation that you just made, or any of the chat questions that came up, please go ahead, and the microphone's yours. Go ahead.
So I have Yolanda who has asked, what would be online business options for healthcare consulting services? I understand online for product business. So when you're doing online healthcare, you know, there is telemedicine. So you can offer your services with people via Zoom, you know, so that you can meet with them. I do that. I have a doctor in New York City and I live in Memphis, and we do telemedicine. So that is an option in order to give them your services. I hope that answered your question. In the chat, let me know if that helped. And also, Yolanda said, with affiliate marketing on a digital product, What percentage of sales should I provide to the affiliate? So affiliate, those Instagram, people on Instagram, they will tell you how much they want. I know that there is one girl that does, that's an amazing influencer. She's got millions of followers and she takes 40%. They're not cheap, these affiliate marketers, but they're going to tell you how much they need. Any other questions?
Hello, can you hear
Still
me?
is-
Yes, Sabrina, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for this presentation. It was very informative. I would like to know for consulting services, in terms of price strategies, you listed a lot of different price strategies. Can you suggest which one would be more feasible for people?
Tell me, yes, just tell me what type of consulting services you're offering.
Yes, I offer research and training services to home care agencies to help them to retain their caregivers. And I
So-
also offer services to caregivers, family caregivers, in terms of working with them to develop self-care plans. So the main
Okay.
core of my business is retention.
Okay, so it's training. And what I would do is if you are training somebody by the hour, it would be an hourly rate. Is that how you charge now?
Actually, I do it as a package, but because usually it's like research, finding out why they're losing employees, and then
Okay.
consulting, and then doing the training if their budget permits.
Are you charging by the hour or by the
By-
training?
by a package? I'm doing
Okay.
a package, but I'm not sure, given the options that you listed, if that's the most
Let me-
effective way.
So let me tell you, all businesses are labor. Think about the labor and how many hours it will take you to do a training. I don't particularly like paying by the hour. I prefer that you offer a training and say the training is going to be $1,500, which will give you, and you list all the services you're going to provide in that training. So I prefer to know when anybody does any trainings, what the cost will be. And you can say if you need extra help or extra time, you could include a 1 hour a month follow up and include that. But always know that whatever your hourly rate should be is included in any service that you're providing.
Okay,
I hope that answered your question.
so in my mind, I was thinking that the hourly rate would be more than if I did a package. A package is like, just like you mentioned earlier with the value meal for children at McDonald's. So I was thinking of my packages more like a reduce of the total cost, and looking at, being profitable. I'm not sure if I am getting the most that I can get,
When you're talking about labor as you providing services, it's easier because it's your time. How much is your time worth? When you have a product, there's an actual cost. You paid money to get that product. And so it's a little different in that way. So whatever works for you. And of course, whenever you sell anything, what will the market bear? How much are they willing to pay? So how long have you been doing this, Sabrina? And of course, email me and we can talk offline, and I'll be happy to go over more details with you anytime.
Okay, I'll definitely email you then. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we have another question here. Let's see. Mark Anderson, I offer writing services, mostly book editing and proofreading. Should I plan to do business with my competition, and how should I approach them? So my experience with book editing is most people charge by the page. And so you can certainly call your competition and ask them if they need your services, and they're going to tell you how much they're going to pay. And then you decide whether or not that works for you. If you're a fast reader, you know, and they charge you $5 a page, does that make sense? So again, think about your personal time and what's the minimum amount that you need to make, and if that works for you. You know, when you're selling your products and services many different ways, sometimes you'll take a little less doing some things, but then you charge more doing other things. So have a balance there. And Mike says, any suggestions about increasing pricing for existing clients that are locked in at a month-to-month service contract for marketing? Yes, that is something that is a little challenging because it's hard to raise prices. People are used to a price, and of course they always want to get a better price. Again, are your expenses and overhead costs going up that you want to raise prices? And of course, always look at the competition, and are the competition prices higher? You know, what I've done in my business is my oldest customers got the very best price. But when I got new customers, I always gave them a higher price. They weren't locked into that low price. So maybe your existing customers can stay, or you can say your costs have gone up and you can increase it. Mike, how much are you charging a month for your services? If you can unmute.
Yes, hi. That's exactly what it is. There's a couple of our clients who are just paying $350 a month for something that we would charge a new client $500 or $600 a month for. And that's exactly what you had mentioned. And we are trying to, you know, set the precedent for new relationships at a higher rate.
Perfect.
But there are a handful of them that it's kind of painful to continue to do the amount of work that they're expecting for such a discounted price.
So what you can say to them, that $350 price, of course, if you go up 10%, I think that's reasonable. And how long have they been your client? So every year or 2 or 3, you can raise the price. But again, think about who's doing the services, and maybe you have a newer employee do that you pay a lower rate. It's all really based on labor. I mean, you know, what is your labor costs and profitability?
Right. That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. My competition wouldn't even talk to me after 2 tries, one of them. The rest have been wonderful. So I always looked at competition in other states. When somebody is in other states, they're happy to talk to you because you're not really direct competition to them. But absolutely, you call your competition as a customer. You don't call them and say, you know, I've got the same business you have, please share. You want to basically call them as a customer and try to do business with them and try to figure out where their weaknesses are, where the gap is, what are they doing well, what are they doing not so well, and how can you do it better? How can you be different? What can you do that the competition is not doing? Any other questions by anybody?
Yes, Julie, I think I've got all of the microphones available to our attendees to open if they want to do that. I think there's only one attendee that I was not able to open the microphone for. So again, have at it, attendees.
So anyone can unmute if you have a question or comment. And thank you all so much for coming today, and know that we are here to help you. And you are never alone when you're in business. SCORE is here for you. And there are so many recorded webinars on the score.org website that you could see, and everyone has different experiences. So as you go, if you talk to many mentors, you may get many different answers. So I want to tell you that your gut is always right. You learn as you go in business. It's not an exact science. And so just do what you love. And I hope that everybody loves their business, and you build your business so that it's job security, as I said. So Happy New Year, everyone. Stay safe. And one last call if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.
And thank you, Julie Brander, for the presentation today. Much appreciated, very valuable information for all of our attendees. Thank you, attendees, for being here this morning. Remember that on buffaloniagara.score.org, you can find all of our upcoming webinars and workshops. So please keep that site in mind. And also, Julie mentioned score.org with lots and lots of resources for all businesses. So thanks for being with us this morning, and stay healthy, everyone, and have a great day. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, Julie,
All righty.